Hey Crusaders, I'm AJ.
And I'm Julius.
And today Julius and I will be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy. So Julius, what do you think of Guardians of the Galaxy?
I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah.
I didn't quite like it as much as other people did.
Okay.
I still thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I thought, like, from the tone, the characters, how outlandish it could have been with a talking tree and a machine gun shooting raccoon, it was just awesome. And people who've never would have heard of Guardians of the Galaxy in a million years are saying I am Groot on Twitter now.
Oh my goodness.
What about you?
I mean, I loved it just because you get D-listers who, I mean, really, like, I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew who, Nova was, and I knew, like, other galactic, Marvel characters, but I really didn't know the Guardians before this movie was announced. And so, after reading, the Annihilation, Conquest, and just kind of getting some, like, background information of who these guys are, I loved the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just everything. There were some, like, moments when they would, like, do slow motion stuff where I was kind of like, I mean, that's not really my thing. Mm-hmm. They were, like, just kind of, like, tiny, like, nitpicky things where I'm like, I don't really care about that. But otherwise, I thought it was just such a fun movie to get characters that people don't know about and to touch on each and every single one of them. I felt like I knew them all.
They all gave, like, really good sequences and standout moments. And it's really neat because this is a team-up movie for superheroes that didn't have any introduction. Like, it had nothing. And, for people who are saying, oh, Justice League needs to have, each character set up before, it proves that it doesn't, because these James Gunn and the writers of this movie made this movie, near, like, just awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times, I have always hated, like, an hour and a half, of an origin story, like an Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't think we needed another hour of just Peter Parker. I mean, they gave that to us. It was great. It was fine, but we just had that not even 10 years before. And I think a movie that really did a good job of that was The Incredible Hulk. They just jumped right in. He's the Hulk. I mean, in opening credits, they were like, all right, he became the Hulk. Now he's the Hulk. So let's go. And with this movie, it was kind of the same thing. It was like, all right, each one of them has their own story. We don't need to talk about it. I mean, we'll tell you a little bit about it during the movie, but we don't need an hour, you don't need a movie for each character.
They alluded, like, with Rocket, it's like, I wasn't made this way, or I didn't choose to be made this way. You don't know how Groot and Rocket became friends.
No.
It's just, you throw it in, the audience accepts it, and it's cool.
I think, their relationship was one of the coolest parts of the movie. Mm-hmm. And, I really felt like, basically, they're a 21st century Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Yeah.
For me, like, that's like watching them interact with each other. That's what it felt like. That same, like, feel of, like, that, sci-fi adventure.
Speaking of Han Solo, I felt like Chris Pratt played that role. I mean, albeit it's a bit more, funnier, and he was awesome. Like, he hasn't had, like, a big starring role in a movie, and he's gonna be in Jurassic World next year.
Yeah.
But, this kicked off his career, and he's just fantastic.
I love him in Parks and Rec, but in Parks and Rec, he's not...
He's a fat,
he's
lazy guy.
He's not this. And so to see him as Star-Lord, it was really cool. What would you say are, like, some things that you didn't really care for in this movie? Because you said you didn't like it as much as most people, so what were, like, some negatives?
I think the villain, Ronan, is just kind of bland. He just wants to kill people, take over a world. It just feels generic at this point.
Plus, he's not even, like, a big guy. You knew he was number 2 because they showed, Thanos.
Yeah, so I didn't like that, and I just felt like the beginning of the movie really, I didn't find it, like, that much that funny. I didn't find it that exciting. Like, I'd say the first third of the movie, from when he's dancing inside the cave to, I'd say, the prison breakout sequence.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that scene, I just didn't really care for it. Like, I was beginning to think, I was like, is something off in my head? Because during the movie, I'm like, I just don't think I like this.
Oh, really?
But starting from that prison breakout sequence, it was just perfect throughout. The funniest thing, though, in that movie, the funniest thing is when they're in the prison breakout sequence and everyone's fighting, blah, 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 and then Chris Pratt's in the guy's prison cell. It's like, you need my what?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, there's some really good humor in it.
But you didn't, like, really care for it until, like, after all that? And, like, weird. Yeah. As soon as he, like, picked up that little lizard and started, like, singing, I was like, this movie's probably going to go down in, like, my, like, favorite Marvel movies of all time. And I think it has. I think just the way it was, filmed and the way just everything kind of like was put together. I mean, arguably one of the best Marvel movies in a long time.
I think it's my second favorite Marvel Studios movie behind Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I would say this year we've just been blessed. We've got like three really good, like 3 amazing movies, and then we had an amazing movie.
Yeah.
And so, I would say, would you say this year has been better than 2008, which had Incredible, Iron Man, and Dark Knight?
Yeah.
You would say?
I mean, like, The Dark Knight is still my favorite comic book movie of all time, and my favorite movie. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, this, like, 3, like, of some of the best superhero movies ever made. I mean, that's unheard of. Okay. Imagine if Amazing Spider-Man 2
was, like, just as good as these guys. Yeah, that would be awesome. But, who would you say, like, after, like, of the 5 Guardians, who would you say was your favorite of the 5? Like, that you...
the obvious choices are either, like, Rocket or Groot, but I just think Star-Lord is my favorite. Yeah. What about you?
I do, too. And, I mean, just because they did so much with, each character, but, I mean, Star-Lord definitely was, like, the focal point of this movie. And, for them to hint at the fact that he's half alien was really cool. Yeah. I liked those kind of things because, I knew that going in. And I think I was disappointed with the Nova Corps because, they're so awesome. They're basically the Green Lanterns of the Marvel Universe. And there's so much you can do with that. And I was kind of hoping that, they were going to say, at the end of the movie, Guardians of the Galaxy will continue in Nova. And I would have lost everything and just started ripping my shirt off, but they didn't. They just said they will be back,
and they announced a sequel for 2017.
But I mean, I love the Nova Corps, and so to see them just completely get destroyed, I'm like, hey, yeah, you need the Nova Force, so get Richard Rider. I mean, Sam Alexander maybe, but let's get some Richard Rider. Let's see him. Because, I mean, he's awesome. And I want to see more Galactic Marvel just after this movie. It's like giving me this hunger for more cinematic Marvel space.
Yeah. So, what would you give this movie out of 10?
I really liked it. I can't say I liked it more than Days of Future Past or Winter Soldier. But it made me happy. I feel like Winter Soldier was a really fun movie to watch with all the action and just the feeling that gave me. Days of Future Past made me feel so much. But I would say this movie just made me happy, and so I'm gonna give it a 9.2. I really liked it.
All right.
What about you?
I'd give it a 8 point. I'm feeling 8.4, 8.8.
Okay.
It's somewhere there between those two.
And mainly because of Ronin, or
I'd say Ronin and just the first half, first quarter didn't click with me.
Yeah.
But that's all we have for you guys today. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And thanks for watching, guys.
Let us know what you thought of Guardians of the Galaxy, and stay ace, guys.